Den over the good.
Minister, I'm happy to speak on this important issue here this evening. And like others, I do want to compliment you and congratulate you. I know where your heart is in this issue, and I know you were robust when you were in opposition. I know you were glad to get this portfolio and got it, and doing your best with it. And you know, I'd like you to be honest with us. And I had one case where I started. I hope you got some treatment from your local vet for that dog at home that was always scratching you. Said I think it's probably mange he had. There's DDT and other things you could use for him if he's not in a healthy state. So I wouldn't like to keep him scratching all the time, like you said one day here in the Dáil. So bring him to the vet, or else get some, or else bring him to Knock, maybe to get him blessed. As I said, I want to start off by acknowledging some of the positive outcomes for rural development that have happened recently. Indeed, I want to warmly welcome the announcement of the 10 community-based enterprises in County Tipperary are set to receive grants totalling $682,000 under the Community Services Programme, a great programme, CSP, and has been a wonderful programme for many decades now. And indeed, I want to salute the manager recently. We had in care in CDA, Helen, who retired recently, and she did a great job. I was absolutely delighted that magnificent work being done by these Tipperary enterprises has been acknowledged and has been the further support is now being given. And to get that support, they didn't get it by accident. They had to make huge efforts with an application process and have everything put forward on paper and a good plan and indeed a vision to keep the communities going. And then they went through all the hoops and got through. And I want to wish Nellie Williams, who's acting chair, but she's filling in for Helen now at the moment as well in County Niskik. Among those who are receiving grant support are Care Developments, as I said, company which is set to receive $43,232. Money couldn't be better spent. The work that they do in those communities, the employment that they give, and the opportunities that they give better off people, you know, to give them the facilities of training and upskilling and ready for other work. Care Park AFC, indeed, where John Delaney visited recently, and members of that club asked me to compliment him for the support he gave them and other clubs in Tipperary. And it's easy kicking man when he's down. I'm not going to get involved in it, but we must praise the bridges we go over. Care Park AFC has said, which received $92,399, while the Millennium Family Resource Centre has been granted $72,266. In East Tipperary, Sister Patricia and her team there are just splendid. The work they do in a wide range of services, and they're expanding all the time, again, to more vulnerable and people that have been left behind by the state, left behind by the HSE, left behind by any other development agencies. They're not doing it for them. Other recipients include Slibar, the Rural Development Company, another wonderful company, $40,000. Tipperary Midwest Radio Cooperative Society, $92,000. And Tipperary Technology Park. And Tipperary Town will have fought here week in, week out with your Minister to look after them. And that is some effort and goes some way, because that community radio do tremendous work. This kind of support is very welcome, especially given that the CSP is designed to support community companies and operates to deliver local social, economic and environmental services that tackle disadvantage. And we must tackle that anywhere we get the opportunity. We need far more of this kind of grant distribution for projects in rural Ireland in order to address the historical legacy of severe underinvestment by the government and previous governments also. That being said, Minister, the funding that is now being delivered is only a catch-up with respect to the massive cuts to rural Ireland over the last number of years. And Minister, we fought very hard. You might have been present at the talks, but Deputy Michael Collins and the Michael Keane and I and a rural independent group fought very hard in the formation of government to have all legislation rural-proofed. And it's sad to say you committed to that, but you're not doing it. You're not doing it. We see that with Tullis Post Office. A post office in a viable town, that's a viable post office, sorry, in a town that's been hammered since the beet factory went, since the Éireann Foods went, no bypass for there, and lots of other tricks or problems. But they have a good post office. They have an affinity that people have with that, and good staff working there as well. And with the 2020 programme, and the $8 million being spent on the square, a famed square, famed in song and story, coming to Newcastle and Bunhinshaw, and now we're taking the post office out of it, out into a shopping centre to suit big business. The interests of big business again against the Dina Bioga, against the shopper Bioga, and the people, the ratepayers and taxpayers who need to be supported, should be supported. Ninat the Curl Kayla, it's daft. And we have a minister, to assist me, sometimes Minister Bruton, unlike you, he won't meet anybody. He's like the High Priest. He won't meet anybody. It's not his problem. He's a 99% shareholder on behalf of the taxpayers of the country, but he don't want to meet anyone. It's a commercial decision by and post. Such bunkum and baloney. You're in charge, he's in charge, and a wrong decision is wrong no matter where it happens, and he must wake up to that and stand with the people in Thurles and stand with the people who want that post office there also. That being said, Minister, as I said, it's only a small bit of money, a catch-up. For instance, in terms of the cuts to the leader funding, there is total local government fund for all councils in Tipperary suffered a reduction of €6.8 million across all councils in Tipperary as recently as 4 years ago. We had councils before they were attacked by Big Phil the Destroyer, as I said, and they were abolished, supported by yourself, unfortunately, Minister. And in fact, the leader funding for rural communities throughout the county has been dramatically cut for the period 2014-2020. Your spin machine might say otherwise, but notice that's right. The funding in question has been cut by 43%, which means that towns and villages in rural areas will lose services relating to childcare, rural transport and supports for start-up businesses. And he backed Minister Ross in his punitive legislation to destroy rural Ireland and to destroy the lifestyles of rural people. Yeah, of course he did. And our erstwhile colleagues sat on their hands and let them pass it. Minister Ross couldn't do the damage himself. Ye helped him. We should have Carol left a Gocklaw and the lads here on my right as well agreed with him. Now they're all giving out about it when people can't go anywhere. They're locked in their homes, so you didn't put any money with funding for Rural Link. It's been cut and cut and cut. 376 million was allocated under the programme for the period 2007 to 13, but under the 2014 programme it was shown that for the period 2014 to 2020 the allocation of only 220 million. What's that? Nearly halved. This is a cut of 15 million. On a separate issue, Minister, and I respect this is not directly on the Euro Department, but indirectly affects rural Ireland. I'm referring to the Brexit loan scheme. As of Friday, February 22nd, a total of 462 eligibility applications have been received for the 300 million Brexit loan scheme, according to Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Michael Creed. According to the Minister, of the 462 eligibility applications received, some 413 have been approved, with 10 ineligible. The total number of loans progressed to sanction at that bank level is 81, with a total value of 17.3 million, 13 of which relate to food businesses with a value of 4.2 million. What is wrong? Everything is stronger than bureaucracy and red tape and officialdom, and we can't breed with it, and small businesses can't survive with it. What is frightening here, Minister, is the way in which it speaks to the operation and delivery of the kind of scheme. There's a great fanfare and big budgets, but the payment rates do not match approval level. Perhaps you might comment on any of the blockages you have identified in terms of what is the delays in access to funds in grants to your department. I also want to talk about rural crime, Minister. As you are aware, this is a pressing issue. Indeed, the rural independent group's motion on rural crime was passed by this House, and all of us who live and work in rural communities are only too aware of the concern that continues to exist around this ongoing, in some respects, increasing problem, many respects. While we accept that some very productive efforts have been made, like the introduction of Operation Tor, we remain deeply troubled at the lack of coordination in terms of tackling the issue. Last year, when the ICSA were before the Oireachtas Rural Committee, it referenced a number of reports it had published in conjunction with Waterford Institute of Technology on agricultural crime. The reports were authorised by Dr. Kathleen Moore Walsh and Louise Walsh of WIT. The reports were based on sample surveys of 861 farmers across Ireland and householders as well, and a stacked reading. The first report outlined the following figures. Of the 861 respondents, 6% had experienced some form of crime which impacted them on their farms. 41% of respondents had been the victim of a crime more than once. The second report quantified that the average value of the theft on farms and rural households was 1,815, and that incidents of vandalism, criminal damage cost farmers and other householders an average of 360. That is not right or fair. These people are entitled to live out their life with some degree of security and safety. Crime does not get reported to insurance companies. 94 incidents of theft and 348 incidents of vandalism, criminal damage or trespass was not reported to the insurance. However, the third report showed that farmers were also reluctant to report crime to Gardaí, and that's very concerning and very worrying, as we haven't enough numbers of Gardaí. We don't have them in Tipperary, one of the worst in the country. 45% of respondents did not report instances of agricultural crime to Gardaí. The reasons, according to the ICSA, was the authors, the study that had been summarised as a sense of hopelessness and that anything could be done. Imagine that, people living in rural land. I work in Westmeath too, Minister. I'll be out there on that time. In fact, I'm going to Castlebar this weekend to support my daughter in the novelty act in score and the Newcastle Ring Corey dancers as well. We might see you there, and the Travellers Friendly might drop in to say hello, Minister, but you know what's happening in your eyes. Rural Ireland has been stifled. It's been stifled, and it's been. I've been crying about. You don't worry. I'll be checking all those 6 towns they're talking about. The Shea Ball, Carwilla and the Ballyshin. Are they on in me? I hope not. I know they want to do them. Will be. This is why I have called for the creation of an interdepartmental rural crime task force to deal with this, Minister, the crime that's going on, and people living in fear. You can't thrive, you can't, health is affected if you're living in fear, and it's not acceptable. So this is Tosach Ma and Margaret Fain, but a lot of work to do, and rural approval of all legislation must happen. It's not happening. You have to ensure it happens.